For me, it would go breath. Not that they need an order, right? But now I'm picking up on your thread here. It would go breath, then senses, then movement, then communication, right? And the first three items would be almost in their own circle of like, they're personal. And obviously communication can be personal too, because we're having a dialogue with ourselves, but that could be like on the border of that circle, because that's also the crossover point to other people. Right? Like you can pay attention to your breath all you want and be tapped into your senses and be really aware of what's going around you. And you can move really, really well and be Goda, but you can be a terrible communicator. Right?
Yeah.
So like as we work out from middle, like communication's next, no doubt about it. 100%.
The communication piece, and like that's why finding Procabulary was so profound for me.
Yeah, dude.
And to Coach McKay's point, it comes after movement, because like your body language is something you cultivate on your own. Posture and body language is a practice that you could perform separately, and like our bias is that it's gonna become part of your like prep routine.
Right, dude, 100%. And it's so rooted in breath as well. So it's like this is where these three then again tangle together to become this ever feeding cycle at the center. Right? I mean, like to me, this is center. This is your pool of awareness.
Mm-hmm. And you could have Procabulary at your disposal. You could understand and have like basically downloaded the lessons and make logical sense that like, okay, affirmation is going to be more conducive statistically to like the success that I want. Speaking in affirmative versus speaking in negative. Using hard talk versus soft talk. Extreme ownership. So you could believe that stuff 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are continually in a fight or flight state because there's no conscious breath practice, because you're listening to the story, I would imagine Procabulary will be less helpful to you, because you're going to have such a gap in terms of like knowing the information and practical application of the information. Because like what happens is when I'm in a situation and I'm communicating with somebody at work or Michelle at home, I lean on my own personal tools. Hey, I'm going to take 3 breaths in through my nose, and now I can use Procabulary.
Yeah, dude.
But if I don't have that practice, I can know that the answer that I'm looking for is in an affirmative statement, and I can still be called to say, no, don't do that, or I don't want that to happen, because that's the vomit. That's like that's the subconscious default, unless I've hacked it.
Right, dude, 100%. And Procabulary or communication, nature, exercise, diet, all of these are just spokes off of the wheel. Like the visualization that I'm having is like a bike wheel, or like an old school car tire. Like the hubcap is breath, movement, and senses. And then there can be as many spokes off of this as you want, but every one of those spokes that I just labeled, exercise, diet, going in nature, they're all less useful if we're not coming from center.
The example might be like the person who's prioritizing taking like the 5-mile hike into Hasufi Falls in Arizona, like so that they could take the picture for Instagram.
Right. Not so that they could go to the falls for the beauty of it and the adventure of it and the exploration of it.
And it's a weird thing, right? Because like if what we're talking about to our to the argument that we're talking about, like if you're coming from center with breath and senses and awareness, like your phone is an afterthought, and may or may not even make the cut for like equipment you're bringing on this journey.
Easily. 100%.
But then, like, at the same time, then, like, how does everybody else know you're woke?
Dude, right.
Then, if you don't document it on the phone.
Right.
But the irony is, like, as soon as you do document it on the phone, like, you've diminished your own experience.